This is absolute madness. It was a free-for-all. Abilities were flying everywhere, altering landscapes. There were one-on-one battles, group skirmishes, and even gangs ganging up on S-rank players. The first exam was a no-fucks-given battle. The staff of the association watched them. 20 minutes has passed since the trial started. The staff were truly amazed with their abilities. But this guy was busy looking at someone else. Go Taehyun witnessed how the other staff was amazed. He thought that it's natural for Yeonbok and Lim Ah-young to attract attention since their ranking is high. He watched Taehyun engaging in a fist fight. He screamed, what the hell was happening? Kim Taehyun is up against an A-ranker called Hong Jan-wook, who is using his iron skin skill. Taewook panicked and wondered if he had overrated Kim Taehyun's abilities since he is being overpowered by someone who is only at A rank. More so, Taehyun has not even avoided a single attack. He considered that it was intentional. Taehyun advanced toward Jongwook with a smile. He was met with a powerful punch from Jongwook. Jongwook was pissed off and asked if he's doing that to mock him. He yelled that stone skin is way lower than iron skin, but Jongwook's face paled as he heard Taehyun comment that he talked too much. A notification showed that Taehyun has increased 1 stamina and 2 charms. It had been a month of practice, but the seal of Predation remained integrated, and the best way he thought to improve his skills through training is to stimulate the body until it reaches maximum capacity. So, he continued to fight Jongwook. They exchanged punches, and Taehyun was stubborn to continue with his so-called training. He seems to be thrilled despite his injuries. The iron on Jongwook's face disintegrated, and he called Kim Taehyun a damn monster. A few moments later, he fell to the ground and stayed there. Taehyun won their fight and retrieved Jongwook's card. Now he owns 2 trial cards. Taewook witnessed that and laughed out loud. He commented that it's truly abnormal. The staff noticed him and commented that he seemed so happy, and they thought it was because the candidates are truly promising. He recognized the intense training that Taehyun did during the survival game. He uttered that he is truly unbelievable. However, there's still a problem with doing this. Even if he did that to improve his skills earlier, the fight had consumed too much stamina. In Taewook's mind, Taehyun should save stamina for now. By collecting cards from weaker participants is the best strategy. But unexpectedly, it did not go that way. He was shocked by what he saw. Taehyun stood on the platform while the other guy confidently faced him. It was Yeonbok. He asked him who he was. Currently, Yeonbok has already accumulated 147 cards. Taehyun didn't answer Yeonbok's question and asked him how many tickets he has. He grinned and uttered that as long as Yeonbok has more than 5, then it's fine. Their fight had started. It caused a massive explosion. Taehyun barely evades Yeonbok's thunder. Yeonbok continuously rained thunder on him, to which made Taehyun focused on running and evading, until he decided to cover his foot with stone. And when he found the opportunity, he went to attack Yeonbok with a powerful kick, but his foot was blocked by thunder. Their fight continued. Taehyun kept a bit of distance from Yeonbok, and he admitted to himself that he's a bit difficult to deal with. Yeonbok is covered with lightning and he blocked all of his attacks. In addition to that, Yeonbok is able to fight at close and long range with his radiant and destructive power. Taehyun wondered, how is he going to break him? Yeonbok noticed that he had stopped moving and asked why he didn't attack. Yeonbok taunted him to come at him, but Taehyun was caught off guard. Yeonbok went for him instead. He barely dodged Yeonbok's fist covered with lightning. But Yeonbok did not stop there. He used his hand again to attack, and Taehyun tried to keep a distance from him. Shin Yeonbok laughed as if he was excited to catch his prey. As he released a powerful thunder towards Taehyun, he asked him if he thought that he could run away from him. The attack electrified Taehyun, which made him scream loudly in pain. Yeonbok was elated and mocked him that since he's asking for a fight, he shouldn't run away. Taehyun groaned as he tried to protect himself by covering his body with stones. He made a huge stone on his hand and yelled as he prepared for a counterattack. Yeonbok broke that stone while calling him a moron. And then Yeonbok released a blinding light. That made Taehyun close his eyes. And when he opened it, he saw Yuonbok coming right at him while he's falling from the platform, and the Thunder God's hand was already charged. He was surprised at what he saw. Taehyun groaned in pain as the thunder covered his whole body. Yeonbok laughed at him. He was impressed that Taehyun could take that attack. Yeonbok never thought that there would be a person like him. He thought that in the player trial, only Lim Ah-hyun could entertain him. He was elated to have found another toy. He didn't realize that something was coming at him at full speed, and it hit him directly at the center of his forehead. He was confused for a moment, and he looked at Taehyun while wondering what happened, because he expected that Taehyun's attack wouldn't work against him. And then he was caught off guard with another consecutive attack that hit him in all sides of his body. Stone skin can't penetrate the Thunder God's fury, even if it is forced until it reaches its limits. It can only be broken due to incredible pressure. But in that place, the player trials arena, it's different. Because the arena is made to withstand even awakened strength, and unlike stone skin, it does not disappear even if it is destroyed. So, Taehyun thought of using it as a weapon, with the hopes that he could just break through the Thunder God's fury. He approached Yeonbok with a knowing grin. Yeonbok was pissed off and called him a cowardly bastard, and Taehyun's fist directly hit Yeonbok's chest. That made Yeonbok's eyes roll back. To Taehyun, Yeonbok is nothing to him. Shin Yeonbok coughed up blood. Taehyun was smiling. The staff couldn't see clearly because of the smoke, but they couldn't believe that an S-class lost against C-class. They wondered what kind of person Taehyun is. In his mind, Taewook remarked how Taehyun makes people worry, but then again, he was confused with Taehyun's actions. Taehyun collected 3 trial cards from Yeonbok, and he declared that all that was left for him to do is to wait for the test to finish. All of a sudden, an ice shard appeared. It directly attacked him. It broke the platform on where Yeonbok's body was lying. Taehyun was surprised at what he saw. He looked at the sky and there was a giant snowflake, and an orb of ice is starting to form around the platform. He watched as the ice completely covered the area. It was like a barrier, and from the giant snowflake, ice shards appeared, and several more snowflakes formed around the orb of ice. Then Lim Ah-hyun showed up. She walked towards him in that enclosed area. Taehyun was dumbfounded, while Ah-hyun looked so serious. He wondered why Ah-hyun was there, and he wondered if she watched his fight. Ah-hyun expressed that she believes power has responsibility, and power without responsibility is just violence. She told Taehyun that he is really strong. She never thought that he could beat Yeonbok like that. Taehyun is still confused about what she is saying. Ah-hyun assumed that he defeated Lee Jung-jae the same way. A look of horror washed over Taehyun's face. Ah-hyun started attacking him. She prepared several snowflakes above her head, and it rained ice. Taehyun ran and cursed from his annoyance that the ice is like a bomb. And if it continued, he knew hiding would be useless. He didn't sense that Ah-hyun was already in front of him. She kicked him and it hit him directly on the face. He was shocked and was not able to dodge the attacks. Ah-hyun told him that during that time in the gym, she believed in him, that he's a different person than Lee Jung-jae, that he will not act rashly just for his own benefit. She continued to beat him up. She prepared ice on her fist. She told him that just by watching him fight, she already understood that there's an end to both Lee Jung-jae and Bae-hee Hyung-soo, and that was all his doing. She hit him with a large ice shard that threw his body off the ground. When the ice shard disintegrated, his body immediately fell to the ground and collided with an impact. Ah-hyun reminded him that using skills without permission is a crime, and both of his victims are still lying in the hospital. And she informed him that she knew that he also suffered, so she would not report it. But she advised him to withdraw from the player trial, and told him that he doesn't deserve to be a player. Taehyun replied, "Who the fuck are you to decide that?" He slowly stood up, and told her that she can't even stop the cruelty of Lee Jung-jae. So what the hell is she talking about power, responsibility, and qualification? He added that in the end, She just wants to beat him up by using player trials as her reason. Young was dumbfounded, and she confirmed if that's really going to be his answer. With that, she announced that she would no longer hold back. She made a gigantic hammer out of ice. Taehyun observed her. His expression was now more serious. The stone skin had been destroyed 100 of times and has long lost its function. And he knew that even if he uses stealth, the skill will be cancelled with the attack area. The monarch's heart is already active and is increasing his stats, but not enough to change the course of the battle, and Predation is still sealed. Taehyun's remaining mana is not enough to cause paralysis in close combat, like he did to Lee Jung-jae. He knew he had one thing left to do. He dashed towards her. Young prepares to attack him using her gigantic hammer. Looking from the outside of the barrier, a bright light emerged from the orb, and it was followed by a massive explosion that collapsed the ice barrier surrounding them. The staff who were watching wondered what happened since they couldn't see anything because of the fog. And when the fog slowly clears, Taehyun is on top of Liam Young, and up close, their lips are touching. Young's eyes widened in shock. Since her lips are sealed, she internally screamed while being shocked and confused. What happened earlier was this. Taehyun dashed towards Young. Then, she prepares to attack him using her gigantic hammer. She smashed her hammer, making the ground collapse. She intently stares at the area where her hammer is, but something unexpected caught her attention. It was Taehyun, and this guy leapt above the ground. At the crucial moment between life and death, Taehyun has only one goal in his mind, and it was a kiss. But the purpose was different. It was a paralysis-inducing kiss. A stat-changing skill is more effective in close distance rather than long distance, and directed inward rather than outward, where the chance of success increases significantly. So, Taehyun combined paralysis into his blood and made Young swallow it. Considering a S rank that has monster-like resistance, that act was a bet, and the result was as follows. Taehyun got off her and Young remained in place. A notification showed that Liam Young is exposed to paralysis and the resistance failed, and instead of being mad about it, Young blushed. And since Kim Taehyun has done a fatal psychological shock to his opponent's mind, his charm has increased to 3. It has been announced that the first phase of trial is complete. They were informed that the medical team will now move the candidates to safety, and they have advised all candidates to wait and stay at their location. The announcement was repeated with the completion of the first trial.
Well, that was quite the ordeal. Absolute madness down there. I still can't believe what we just witnessed. Taehyun's performance, impressive, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. Abilities flying everywhere, battles raging on. It was chaos. And then Taehyun taking down 2 A rankers. I don't think I'll be forgetting that anytime soon.
Definitely. From battles to power struggles, it was like watching a real-life drama unfold. But what really threw me for a loop was when Young stepped up. However, the way Taehyun handled that situation was unexpected, to say the least.
Teenage boys. But hey, at least it's all over now. The first phase of the trial is complete, and everyone's safe. Let's hope things don't calm down a bit from here on out. But knowing these trials, who knows what's in store next? All candidates who were injured were treated immediately by the medical team. Even though Young suffered paralysis, she didn't lose her trial card and was still conscious, so she passed the first phase. As for Taehyun, he managed to get 7 cards, and his unexpected achievement of defeating Yeonbok and Young has made him the center of attention in that trial. When he was walking in the hallway, he heard people gossiping about him. He didn't bother paying attention to them. He appreciated the recovery skills of the person who treated him. He wondered if he would get a skill like that later on. But then, he heard someone yell his name so loudly, Yeonbok instantly attacked Taehyun upon seeing him while calling him a cowardly bastard. Taehyun blocked his attack with his stone-covered hand. Yeonbok warned him that he can use the same tricks in the location that they are currently at. Yeonbok continued to attack and attracted a crowd. The onlookers wondered if it was a revenge match. Yeonbok screamed at them to mind their own business. He told them to shut up and electrified them. And then he invited Taehyun to have a fair match with him. He told him that if Taehyun doesn't have those lowly tricks, he can show him how superior he is to him. They both felt a strong presence, and it seemed like gravity pulled Yeonbok to the ground. Taehyun struggled as well and noticed something. A man had appeared. He walked towards them while commenting about inexperienced imbeciles. This man continued to say that those are the people who can never let anything go quickly. Taehyun recognized that this man is the S-rank player, Park Sungjin. He is one of the strongest players of the new South Korean Player Association and a prospective double S-rank player. Sungjin noticed that Taehyun was still standing. He then raised his arm and released more of his power. Taehyun kept fighting the strong force to remain standing. He cursed as he realized the extreme difference between awakened S-class and player S-class. He never thought that it would be to that extent. Sungjin remarked how Taehyun is still standing even after that much power. He wanted to test him more, so he increased his power. A doctor and a nurse run towards them. The doctor scolded him for attacking students who just finished recovering. He asked if Sungjin is planning to get rid of them before the second phase even starts. Sungjin defended that he's just disciplining him. The doctor told him that he's lying. He accused him for testing his skills in the name of disciplining them, and he does that every time. The doctor threatened him that if he did that again, he would be reported to the head of the association. Sungjin asked Taehyun for his name. Kim Taehyun answered his name. Park Sungjin recalled that he was the C-rank who defeated Shin Yeonbok and Lee Ma-young. He was pleased at the appearance of an impressive candidate after a long time. He pats Taehyun's shoulder and asks if he intentionally targeted S-rank players. He went off while saying to Taehyun that he will be waiting. Taehyun was a bit confused. The doctor and nurses chased Sungjin out. After their recovery period, the candidates were again gathered. This time, they are in a forest. The candidates anticipated the next announcement. Sungjin stood on the stage. He announced that the second trial will begin. He explained that the location of the next trial is in the gate in front of them. Upon hearing that, the candidates were filled with fear and worry since dungeons have monsters. Sungjin explained that each group consisting of 5 candidates will enter the dungeon through the gate. A team with a player assigned as a supervisor will explore the dungeon. He instructed the candidates to take turns and enter the gate. Even beginners who have no real experience should be okay in a D-rank dungeon, unless they unfortunately teleported towards the double dungeon called Apocalypto. Inside the D-rank dungeon at the second player trial location, there was the first double dungeon ever discovered. Including the first explorer party, a lot of victims were annihilated, which led to dungeon break in various undiscovered dungeons. Taehyun explored the idea of them preventing that, but the association will not possibly believe his words without evidence, and even if it was revealed, he will raise suspicions. In his head, he knew it was a shame, but he decided to focus on the task. And he thought that as long as he is not part of the first explorer party, there would be enough ways to survive. As he entered the gate, an uninterested expression washed over his face. A player announced that with his arrival, they now have 5 people. He asked everyone if they were good to go. This guy is Ma Do-hak, an A-rank player that will act as their supervisor for the second round of the test. And a special note is that this player was the one who discovered the first double dungeon Apocalypto. Taehyun figured it was the moment he knew. He fucked up.
Could he possibly have any worse luck than what he's endured today? Being a regressor hasn't exactly handed him many advantages. How did he end up on the team that got the short end of the stick?
Short answer, I would say, would be that no matter what, whoever gets assigned to that person is seemingly fated to meet their demise. On a deeper level, his mere presence might have triggered a reshuffling of individuals based on how they were ranked.
That's some pretty solid reasoning. If only his predation skill wasn't locked, this would be a breeze. But let's see how he maneuvers his way out of this situation, because I doubt kissing anything but ass will save him this time around. If you're finding this story engaging, feel free to drop a comment below. I'd love to discuss the unfolding narrative and hear your thoughts. And if you're enjoying the tales shared, don't forget to hit that like button. For more captivating stories like this, simply click on any of the links by my side, and together, let's dive into more immersive worlds. Your feedback and interaction make this journey all the more exciting.